Okay, this video is for someone who asked me about buying a used gun, and the things to look for are actually the bolt, okay, and the magazine. These are the easiest things to check. There's other things you could check, but if it's on a police model, it's going to be hard to take that gun apart, while you're there with the guy to look at all the parts you really need to look at. But you can tell a lot from the bolt. This is actually, the back part of this bolt was part of a really well used Tanaka gun, and I don't know if you can tell. I'm going to try and get there. This has been worn really a whole lot right here. This is the part that when the striker pins down, okay, they've been racking this really hard, and they probably this is probably fired like 10,000 rounds or something, because it really has worn this away. This bolt, this is a part of a bolt that I fixed for a customer. I actually replaced all these parts, and you'll notice one of the screws was missing. This front part's from a replacement part that they didn't need, but this was missing a screw. These screw holes were stripped. That's a big problem, okay? And let me take it apart, and you can see some other things to check. I would bring a little flathead screwdriver to take these bolts apart, and then this will come off. This is all captured. The other thing is this spring retainer, there was only one of them, and it was just barely holding that spring on, okay? So that's another thing to check. Make sure it has both of these pieces. And this one was also made, there's a little detent right here and a spring, and that keeps this thing from just spinning around. It's supposed to only go so far, and it's supposed to lock into certain positions, so this thing could kind of just flap around while it's in the gun. And another thing to check, if you can, kind of look at the spring, see what kind of condition it's in. But if you're able to, if you push this up, there's a little Allen here. If you remove that and then unscrew this whole assembly here, take a look. Let's see if I don't know if I have mine loosened. Let's pull it all out. Yeah, mine's not loosened, but what you want to do is you want to take a look at the threads on the back of this as it screws into this guy here, this striker. So if you're able to, pull that apart and see if it's been really jacked up, because if that can't tighten down, you're going to have to buy a new bolt. The bolts for the KJWs are only like 40 bucks, so it's not that big a deal. And the other thing you want to check, this is a new one, but this little O-ring here, it's not really an O-ring, it's just some sort of a rubber fitting. But the only way to replace those is with the G&G rubber pack for a Tanaka, and that's the only part you'll use from that pack. But those are good to get if you can get them. But these will wear out real fast, way faster than the bolt. Obviously, I replace these often. In fact, it just depends. This is where on the magazine. This is where this guy here. It's called like the gas route spring, or the gas route springs underneath this. But anyway, this mates up to this guy. There, like that, and this brass piece just goes back and forth along this little rubber guy here, and wears it out. And if it is worn out a little bit, you can flip it over. You can pull it out, flip it over, and that'll still work to get a little bit of life out of it. But anyway, I bought a couple packs from the G&G rubber gasket kit, and that solved that. The other thing you can do is I guess you can look at the nozzle, but you just want to make sure it's not loose. Okay, little nozzle there. But yeah, a new bolt's 40 bucks, and that's the biggest wear item. Obviously, test fire the gun. Make sure that when you shoot it shoots a BB, it has full power. If there's things screwed up in the bolt, it's not going to do that. And the other big thing to check is the magazine. Okay, you want to pull it out, all right, and sight down the side of it and make sure it's not bulged. Okay, that's what's going to go wrong with a magazine. These things, especially the KJWs, they'll leak from the back plate. These 4 screws, if you pull these off, there's an O-ring in there, and the KJW design for the O-ring is really bad. It fails like every single time. So what you do is you take some RTV sealer from automotive store, black RTV sealer, and when you'll pull this guy off, you'll seal around the edge with, just put a bead of that on there, and you'll squish it back on, tighten it down, and you can wipe off the excess, and leave it there for a whole day before you charge it up again, and then you'll never have a leak ever again. So I suppose if you're going to use green gas, these little valves right here, these leak after a little while, especially when you're filling them. A lot of people, they jack up the O-ring, the fill side of the O-ring, so when you fill it up, it's going to spray out while you're filling it. It'll still fill the magazine, but you waste all this gas. But to replace, if this valve is leaking, like if you charge it up, and I would have the guy charge it up and listen, see if you can hear it. Is it leaking from the back plate? Is it leaking from this fill valve? Okay. If it's leaking from this, it's like a $10 part. If it's leaking from here, that's basically RTV. It's free to fix. If it's leaking from here, there are ways to replace that gasket too. So really, the mag's not jacked unless it's bulged. Okay, so if it's bulged at all, that means they put too much pressure in there. Maybe they use red gas, or maybe if it was a CO2 rig, maybe they put too much pressure in it and it ruined the mag. And the magazine is $40, and like a 29 round magazine is like $80 if you can find them. I guess they stopped making them, so those aren't something you want to waste, and you don't want to buy a messed up one. So just keep in mind, those are the things that you're going to really want to look for. If it's a takedown model, you can take it apart and look at the hop up, see if that's in good condition. Look down the barrel, see if you can see how messed up the hop up is. You'll probably be replacing those parts anyway, because it sounds like you want to upgrade them. So that's not a big deal. But yeah, those are the big things. Look at the bolt, is it really worn, and look at the magazine, is it ruined, is it bulged? So, okay, hope this video helped.